Are there some of us that just don't need as much sleep? Nearly 60% of women over age 40 struggle with sleep disturbances. I don't need to convince you that you need better sleep, that sleep is good for us. It cleans our brains. It helps us to focus. It helps us to be more productive. We look better. We've got higher energy. Like all things are better when we get adequate sleep. I don't need to convince you of that. But I am so excited to share with you today some new research about sleep that makes me feel finally like, okay, I can do this. Like this new research flips what scientists formerly believed about the number of hours that we needed, kind of flips it on its head. And for those of us who struggle to get in the recommended number of hours, this is some really good news. So if you're someone who has tried a million different ways to get better sleep, this episode is for you. I'm also going to share with you some uncommon ways that you can fix your sleep, the top all-natural supplements that'll help you to fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and get more restorative sleep while you are sleeping. I've also got a tip for you that might save you about $5,000 on your mattress. And stay tuned because in this episode, I'm also going to share with you an exact recipe. Supplements, new research that shows that by taking a higher dosage of this supplement, it mitigates the effects of being sleep deprived. So is it something you can use every day? Probably not. But on those days when you wake up and you're like, I need to be on my game today, I've got a super simple, very effective solution for you, and you're going to love it. For me, sleep has always kind of been an issue. I've heard the recommendations, as long as I've been a health professional, that you want to get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
7 to 9 hours of sleep.
7 to 8 hours of sleep.
9 hours of sleep.
7 to 9 hours.
Between 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night.
Anything more than 9 hours may be too much, and there may not be benefit from that. And anything less than 7 hours isn't enough. For me, that's always felt like, oh my gosh, I'm failing. Because as hard as I try to get more than 7, 8 hours, it's pretty rare. And it's not because I'm not allowing myself to sleep. I like to stay up late and I like to wake up early. And I usually don't feel tired. I usually feel rested. I usually feel pretty focused and I feel on my game. I feel strong. And so I've always wondered, are there some of us that just don't need as much sleep? And I'm going to share with you a new study. If you're one of those individuals, when I share with you this new research, you may find like, oh, this explains a lot. Now, hear me clearly. I am not suggesting, nor am I trying to make excuses why I don't need to work on getting more sleep. We all need to work on getting more sleep. But I want you to know that there is some good news I'm going to share with you. But first, we have to understand why it is nearly 60% of women over age 40 experience sleep disturbances. What is going on? Well, if you're a regular listener of the Chalene Show, you probably guessed it. Who's to blame? Hormones. We are literally a walking bundle of hormones. It's our hormones that tell our bodies what to do, how to function, where to store fat, how much energy to have, what we look like, what we feel like, everything. So it's no surprise that when our hormones begin to decline, so too does our body's ability to regulate important things like sleep. Let's talk about progesterone. So as progesterone begins to decline, that's typically in perimenopause when women start to notice that their sleep becomes less predictable. Your progesterone is responsible for making you feel calm. It's what makes you feel sometimes sleepy at night. It's what makes you feel less anxious. It is something that reduces our anxiety. And so when progesterone starts to decline, that's when women will often report that they start to experience symptoms of insomnia. Like you just can't stop thinking about all these things. Like your head hits the pillow and then suddenly your brain is hyperactive. That's typically progesterone. So as it declines, you can see how these things suddenly start to impact your ability to fall asleep. When it comes to estrogen is estrogen tells all your other hormones what to do. So when estrogen begins to leave the party, that's when it impacts hormones that we produce naturally, like melatonin, serotonin, cortisol. So cortisol will spike, serotonin levels go down, our melatonin levels go down, and the next thing you know, we're struggling to stay asleep. But probably the biggest impact that estrogen has on your ability to sleep is that estrogen is it's like our thermostat. Estrogen is a vasomotor regulator. In other words, it's telling our body whether to be hot or cold. And if you're sleeping just 1 degree warmer than you normally do, you're not going to be able to fall asleep. Body temperature tells our body to shut down and go to sleep. When body temperature goes up, it tells our body, it triggers our circadian rhythm to wake. And I know you've had this experience where you've worn like uncomfortable pajamas, or maybe you're in sheets that are like really hot and warm, and you just cannot sleep because you're warm. Or if you don't have any air conditioning, if it's really hot where you are, you experience a heat wave, it's so hard to sleep. And that is because when our bodies are cool, when our core temperature drops, that tells the circadian rhythm, okay, let's produce more serotonin, let's produce more melatonin, let's fall asleep, let's increase progesterone. So our estrogen is responsible for our core temperature, and it's responsible for how our brains are wired. It also helps us to regulate anxiety and mood and all those things. So if you have a decline in estrogen, you can see again how this impacts our sleep. By the way, before we go much further, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Obviously, you're here on YouTube. There's like a million other videos all around that you could be watching. And the fact that you tuned into this one, like super dope. I hope that you'll subscribe. There's a little button that you can find at the bottom of your screen. I forget what side it's on, but just click that button. It's totally free. And then we'll be connected. And I'd love to hear from you. Any topic that's of interest that you would like for me to do a deep dive on. I love doing deep dives inspired by your questions and things that, you're trying to figure out, because we're probably about the same age or have a lot in common, and it would be interesting for me as well. Anyways, thank you for being here. Let's get to it. What about testosterone? Yes, testosterone is also responsible in large part for the quality of our sleep. Specifically, testosterone impacts our ability to stay asleep. You become a lighter sleeper when testosterone is low. And all of these things happen in perimenopause around age 37 to 40 something. And not in a linear fashion. It's not like this. So in perimenopause, you'll be like, "Oh, I'm sleeping fine, and then I've got sleep problems, and I'm sleeping fine, and then I have sleep problems." So that is why the new research as it relates to women's hormone healthcare suggests that the sooner, the younger you as a woman can start on hormone replacement therapy. And we're not talking about taking you to levels that you've never been at, but like maintaining where you're at, like just maintaining who you are, that you're going to have more success and make that transition into menopause much, much easier. If you're watching this right now and you are a woman in her 60s and even in her 70s, and you're like, "Oh, shoot, it's too late for me." Girl, no, it is not. It is never too late for you to have an informed conversation. We'll continue to talk about this. But I just want you to know that the problems you're having with sleep, we blame ourselves. We're like, "I'm an overthinker. I should have made notes earlier in the day. I shouldn't have had coffee at 11 a.m." But truthfully, such a big piece of this boils down to our biology. And when we can balance out our biology, i.e., our hormones, you may have a tremendous relief. Like the studies show that women who are doing hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, again, you want to talk to your practitioner about this, those women report a marked improvement in all forms of sleep, falling asleep, staying asleep, and sleeping longer and getting more restorative sleep. Did you know this? I found out today as I was preparing for this episode, between only 2 to 5% of women who are eligible for hormone replacement therapy are actually doing hormone replacement therapy. What? It's got to just be because of information education. And I guess so many of my friends and colleagues are doing hormone replacement therapy, and it's just a regular part of our conversations. That number shocked me. Can you do me a favor? I want to kind of create a little poll below this episode. So wherever you're listening, will you tell me, if you're a woman over 40, are you or have you done in the past hormone replacement therapy? Just curious. If you have a physician who maybe isn't up to date on these things, all I can say is please, please, please do your research. Find a doctor who's been specifically trained, has additional education as it comes to treating women's hormones. They don't get this as a regular part of their education in medical school. So you've got to find somebody. I'll put some suggestions in our show notes if you're struggling to find someone. But these are all the reasons why we struggle with our sleep. Then add on top of that the fact that like life is stressful. And when life is stressful, it's going to keep you up at night. Add on top of that the fact that we're all, like always on our phones, and this keeps us up. Light keeps us up. Hot sheets, a hot room, drinking alcohol before bed is actually, it makes you feel sleepy. Trust me, I know. I used to have champagne like almost every single night. I no longer drink on a regular basis anyways. I mean, I don't like to call myself a non-drinker because I don't want to like alienate anybody, but I don't know. I just realized it wasn't doing anything good for me. So why was I drinking it? And it certainly wasn't improving my sleep, but I thought it was because I would have a glass of champagne and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm kind of sleepy now. Alcohol does not improve your sleep, and neither does eating late. But combining all of those things, those are the things that we can fix. We can fix the light, we can fix the hot sheets, we can fix the hot bed, the hot bedroom. We can improve those things. We can improve our habits when it comes to exposing ourselves to devices before we go to bed. We can eat earlier in the evening. And as a matter of fact, you can improve all those hormonal symptoms that impact your sleep. But as promised, I want to share with you some unconventional ways that you can improve your sleep. And the first one revolves around research. And this research literally has flipped the scientific community's beliefs around the number of hours you need to sleep. It's flipped it on its head. The new research, when I say new, it started in 2020, the first studies of its kind, looking at consistency of sleep, what time you go to bed, and wake times. And what they've discovered in now countless studies, one that came out in 2024 and one that came out in 2025, and these were large scale studies, the more consistent your wake time, the better your overall health, mental health, physical health, and a reduction in all-cause mortality. What does that mean? Whenever you hear someone say all-cause mortality, what are they trying to say? They're trying to say you can reduce your risk of dying from literally anything by having a consistent wake time. I love that because, to be honest, I mean, my go to bed time is pretty normal. But like my wake time, I don't even need an alarm. I wake at the same time, almost the same time every day within a half hour. And that's the important piece. When I say consistent, when the studies say consistent, what they found is that people who could consistently wake within about a 30-minute, like 20 to 30-minute range daily had improved focus, short-term memory, productivity, cognitive processing. In fact, students who had a consistent wake time, even when they were sleep deprived, got better grades. So we're learning, I don't know what the mechanism is. I really don't. I think we're trying to understand that. But for whatever reason, if you're not great at always consistently getting 8 hours of sleep, like I'm so excited I'm so hyped on this because this is something I can finally, I can win at this. I'm level 56. For all of my levels of my life, I have been trying to get better sleep. Sometimes I feel like a failure. My friends share with me their sleep scores, and I'm like, wah, wah. Like I try so hard. Things that have helped me, I'm going to talk about the supplements that I take that definitely improve my ability to stay asleep and to want to go to sleep earlier. They definitely help. And I'm going to share those with you, especially for those of you who are like, my problem is I just can't stay asleep. These supplements, they're all natural and they are a game changer and much better for you than any of the over-the-counter stuff. But these studies are incredibly important. So if there's one thing that I want you to focus on, it is having a consistent wake time. The second piece of research I want to share with you is the microclimate of your bed. What? Yes, we have now tons of studies showing that the temperature, not necessarily even of your room, the temperature in your bed is going to make a marked difference in how fast you fall asleep and how long you stay asleep. And I'm sure you've heard this concept of couples who, I forget what they call it. I think they call it a sleep divorce. I hate that term. But a lot of couples are figuring out that they get better sleep when they sleep in separate beds. So they get to know each other and have a little party before they separate and go to their separate beds. So, because one person sleeps hot, one person sleeps cold, or for whatever reason, anything you can do to be in a colder environment in your bed, you're going to improve your sleep scores. That means if you've got a dog or animals sleeping in your bed, or children, or anything else for that matter that's warm, get them out of your bed so you can get better sleep. Specifically, you want your bed to be below 82 degrees. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a second, 82 degrees? That sounds really warm. It is warm. But if you think about your body's core temperature and then cold sheets, and you're trying to have cold sheets, and then whatever it is you're wearing and the temperature of the room, all of these things are factored in. So how do you make your bed colder? Well, one way is obviously make the room colder, but that's expensive. And your partner might want a warmer room. But the colder you can make your room, the better. How cold? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Experts say your room needs to be between 60 and 67 degrees for good sleep. I don't make up these rules. You want to be cold to fall asleep. If for whatever reason, like it's just too expensive to be running the air conditioning at that temperature, then you need to focus on making your bed cold. And the new research on making a bed cold shows increases in the ability to get into deep sleep and REM sleep increases by up to 10, 15, even 25%. I'm telling you, I've tested now 3 different models that cool your actual bed. And I'm going to share them with you. And I'm going to be very honest, because I don't care which one works for you, but you need a colder bed. So that means wearing clothing that's not hot, finding sheets that will stay cold and crisp. I don't think you have to spend a fortune on this stuff, but if you're like, you know, when you've gone to a hotel or maybe you stayed at a friend's house and you're like, oh my, there's something about their sheets. They were like cold and I slept better. Find those sheets. Like, do not, like, cozy, warm sheets is not the way to go. Cozy and warm is great if you want to cuddle up and read a book. It's not great if you're trying to fall asleep. So let's talk about these cooling systems. And again, I am not sponsored by anyone. I'm just sharing with you my review of all 3 of these cooling systems. And I'm going to give you an affiliate link so you can decide which one you want to use, but this is not sponsored. The first one I bought was 8 Sleep. 8 Sleep is over $5,000. It is unbelievable. It's remarkable. Like the app that comes with it, it is insane. But I'm going to tell you this. It was not easy to set up. It has to connect to your Wi-Fi. So if your Wi-Fi disconnects, you're kind of screwed. But the app literally tells you everything that's happening in your bed. You can control the temperature like within 1 degree. You can set the bed to get a little bit warmer just before you want to wake up. And it's weird. It's like you like immediately wake up the moment the bed starts to get warmer. I mean, it's just got so many cool things. But there's like water. You can't feel it. It's just like a very, very, very thin layer that goes over your mattress. And you fill it with water, and it's got this, pretty big hub that you set off to the side. You can't see it around your bed. It's nice and clean. It's a clean aesthetic. But again, that's pretty pricey. But it's remarkable. And you learn how to set it and you learn how to adjust your temperature, and you can have different ranges, and it starts at $5,000. There's more expensive models. Unfortunately, I just don't think that's in most people's budget. And if it's in yours, it is definitely the gold standard. Just below that, I would say, is the Chili Pad. I also tested the Chili Pad. I think the Chili Pad was easier to set up. It's very similar to the 8 Sleep, but it doesn't have quite as many bells and whistles. And I think it starts around 2K. These are ranges. You can go up or down from there, obviously. Size of your bed, the extra things that you get for it. The Chili Pad was amazing. Love it. Very, very close to the 8 Sleep. Certainly not as many bells and whistles. It doesn't tell you like everything that's happening in your bed, etc. But I think it's a nice, affordable option. Then I tried the Bed Jet, and I kept seeing this on TikTok and people raving about it. I'm like, might as well try it. This one starts at $500. And even still, for some of you that you might be like, $500? If you struggle with hot flashes, if you struggle with being a night sweater, if you struggle with just in general, like you just can't get comfortable or cool enough at night, this is a great investment. I mean, getting something to cool your bed. And $500 to me is like a nice entry point. So the Bed Jet is different. Oh my God. First of all, these sheets are really nice, but if you didn't want the sheets, It's so like it's directly on, like maybe your feet are hot. You can put that right on your feet. Or maybe it's the center of your body. You can put it right there. You wouldn't have to have your air conditioning on. It's got a very quiet fan sound. I like a loud fan sound. So to me, this, it wouldn't bother me at all. In fact, I'd want it to be a little bit louder, or I'd still just use my white noise app on my phone. What I love is that I don't have to use Wi-Fi, because with my other bed cooling system, if it disconnects from Wi-Fi, you're screwed and it'll wake you up. This will stay on all night long because you've got like a little controller if you want. You can actually set it on an app so it wakes you up in the morning by changing the temperature. You can make the bed warm and that would immediately wake you up. And staying cool all night, you'll stay asleep longer. So highly recommend it to anyone who's a hot sleeper. I like the turbo setting. That's insane. How quickly it gets warm. Oh my gosh. So if you were like cold in the morning, like right now I just hit it and 2 seconds later my feet are warm. That's insane, really. Now I see why everybody loves this. I was shocked at how good it was. It gets the job done. It's not a mattress. It doesn't go on top of your mattress. It's like a fan in a box with a tube that goes into under your covers. I tried it with its special, it has like a special sheet that kind of like snaps around the tube. So it's like blowing cool air throughout the whole bed, and it makes everything nice and cool and fluffy. And you just turn it off in the morning and turn it on at night. And it really does evenly cool the entire bed. The fan is relatively quiet. The other two mattress pads I just talked about are silent. You don't hear them. But the bed jet, it sounds like a fan, like a typical, room fan, not very loud. And it does make the bed much colder. I will say, with the bed jet, I wouldn't even buy the sheet that comes with it. I would just stick that tube like right. I've seen it set up where it's at the end of your bed and it's kind of like in the way and kind of unsightly, in my opinion. And I'm very picky about like seeing things like that. You know what I mean? So when I set it up, I put it on the side of the bed and then I put the hose like right under kind of on my torso, so that all the air was directly coming on me. I didn't even use the special, I've done it both ways, but without the special sheet, you can really direct it at one person. Because I find, from what I hear, a lot of couples, like she sleeps hot and he's fine. So you can do dual zones. And again, it starts at 500. They've got more expensive models, etc. But I was blown away. So I'm going to put the links, like affiliate links for all of those. So you get like a little bit of a discount. In full transparency, if you use one of those affiliate links, I get, whatever, an affiliate fee back from it. But I don't care which one you use. I don't, obviously it doesn't matter to me. I just want you to sleep a lot colder. And I'm telling you, no, don't take my word for it, because I know some of you have one or both, or if you tried these, would you guys tell everybody else? Like, it is insane. I'm like, I will say that currently we are sleeping on an 8 sleep in our primary bedroom, but in our secondary bedroom, we have the bed jet. And that bed jet, you bet your bottom dollars, anytime I'm taking a trip and we're going to be gone for more than like a week or so, I'm going to ship it there. It's that critical for me. I hate sleeping in hotels because I'm always so hot now that I'm so used to having a system to cool my mattress. Game changer. Not joking. Before I get to this next section, I just want to take a moment to invite you to attend one of my free webinars. I do these usually quarterly, where I pick a topic based on your feedback and I do a deep dive and we do it live so that it can be interactive and I can answer your questions. These are usually topics designed specifically for women who are over 40. And I'd love to invite you to my next one. If you check the show description, you'll see a link there where you can get yourself registered. They're always free and I'd love to see you there. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about the science-backed most effective natural supplements that you can take to improve your sleep. Well, the first of which is progesterone. Listen, if you do bioidentical, it's natural. You already produce progesterone, and we're talking about supplements, so you could supplement with progesterone. Of course, you do need to talk to your provider about that. Also, magnesium, potassium, glycine, taurine, magnolia bark, GABA, and L-theanine. All of these are very important sleep supplements. which is why I went on the hunt for a supplement that had all of those things. Because before I had like a little bottle of GABA that I was taking. I was taking, what do you call it? Potassium and zinc before I went to bed, and taurine, and taking all these different supplements. And then I found from a company called Bioptimizer, I found a product called Sleep Breakthrough. I'm going to show you the ingredients label. Check this out. It has all of those ingredients in one scoop, like one powder. They have it in capsule form too, but personally, this is now my nighttime mocktail. I just mix this up. I've got like a fun little recipe that I like to put together, so it's very tasty, so that I look forward to it. Instead of like having to down a supplement before bed, I make it into a fun little mocktail at night. And the ingredients are all proven to help you feel calmer, more relaxed, and help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Many people also find that melatonin and CBD, that combination really helps them to sleep. I used CBD and melatonin for years, and I do think it helped to improve my sleep. But somewhere in that perimenopause, menopause transition, melatonin started making me have really weird dreams and feeling a little bit groggy. Not everyone feels that way. And remember, our hormone levels, and melatonin is a hormone, are always going to fluctuate. So these are the kinds of things you want to play with to figure out what works best for you, and keep a notebook. And allow these, you want to give these things like 30 days at least to see how well they work for you. So CBD, melatonin, ashwagandha, L-tryptophan, passion flower, tart cherry, and lemon balm. These are all natural ingredients that can help you to fall asleep and stay asleep longer. Now, you can find these extracts a lot of times in health food stores, but again, Bioptimizer, they just started the sleep breakthrough. I'll put a QR code up on the screen. Okay. So if you're new here, all you do is you take a screenshot of that QR code. I'll put the link there too if you'd rather do it that way. And then you just open up your camera roll, you tap on that little QR code, and it'll take you over to Bioptimizer. And when you go to that link, you get a nice little discount, and you'll see that they have 2 different formulas, 2 different flavors of their sleep breakthrough. I love them. If you're not sure, get them both. Why not? One helps with deep sleep, one helps with you falling asleep faster. Combine the 2 if you want. If you're not 100% satisfied, they do offer a 365-day money-back guarantee, and that makes me very proud to partner with them. They are a show sponsor, so thank you, Bioptimizer, for improving my sleep. Another really nice all-natural ingredient that helps with sleep is chamomile. So you can also find chamomile in the form of tea and also extracts. Okay, I've got one more really exciting piece of research I want to share with you that is, I think it's so important to have this in your back pocket, and this relates to being sleep deprived. Because let's face it, as perfect as you are with your sleep, there's going to be one of those nights coming up here soon where you're not going to get adequate sleep. And of course, as luck would have it, that very next day, you need to be on. You have to give a presentation, or you have to do something important, and you need to be focused. You need to have all of your synapses connecting. When that happens, instead of doing a stimulant like coffee, etc., there's new research that proves a high dose of creatine can counterbalance most of the negative side effects that we feel after a night of sleep deprivation. Now, this is not necessarily something you want to use on a regular basis. And I do want to mention before I go much further that creatine is typically people will say 5 grams. Well, the research on the amount and the dosages has changed. I've done a whole episode on that, which I will link below, just about creatine, like the different types, which one's best, where to buy them, all those things. But the new research does suggest that taking a higher dose, weight specific, so anywhere from 20 to 30 grams, depending on your weight, after a night where you didn't get much sleep, increases your ability to think clearly, reduces symptoms of brain fog for anywhere from 4 to 9 hours after taking the creatine. But here's what I wanted to tell you. When you up your dose like that, I'm about to share some personal experience. When you up your dose like that, girl, you need to be careful, because your system isn't ready for that. It's not always, shall we say, prepared for the way that it can pull water from your system, if you know what I'm saying. So if it's something you're considering doing, my personal opinion is like, just know that things are going to start moving faster. Be prepared. Make sure you're in a place where you can access a restroom, if you will. And Also keep in mind that if you are going to increase your creatine supplementation, do so slowly, titrate up slowly. And so the right way to do this is obviously talk to your physician. I'm not one, I just play one here on YouTube, but talk to your physician and share with them the new research. I will link to it below the show notes. You can just like click on that and you can print it out and you can show it to your doctor and say, hey, what do you think about this? But this research is pretty remarkable that it improves a person's short-term memory. We're seeing remarkable improvements with Alzheimer's patients, people who have struggled with cognitive decline.
They've looked at things like sleep deprivation. And it's been found that if you take someone and you sleep deprive them for 21 hours and give them about 25 to 30 grams of creatine, it completely negates the cognitive deficits of sleep deprivation. Actually, not only does it negate the cognitive deficits of sleep deprivation, it makes people function better than if they were well rested.
So when you have one of those nights where you didn't get much sleep and you need to mitigate the side effects of sleep deprivation, consider doing a much higher dose of creatine. And then don't forget that creatine is incredible, not just for your muscles, but for your brain, for your body, and especially for women over 40. This is something we need to be regularly supplementing. The one that I take is from Brain MD. Their creatine is instantized, which means that it's a very, very fine particle. It causes less bloating. It's just easier, I find, on the digestive system. Again, I'll put the QR code on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll put the link for it below in our show notes. Other supplements you might want to consider when you're experiencing brain fog and you're just not getting adequate sleep. Sometimes you go through little seasons, like maybe there's something going on, or you've got, I don't know, a change of environment. So you've gone maybe weeks without getting great sleep. You want to focus on anything you can do naturally for your brain. Yes, short naps throughout the day are helpful, but the new research shows that catching up, like trying to catch up on the weekends by sleeping extra on the weekends, there's really very little benefit to that. Again, the most important thing that you can do to improve your overall mental and physical health is have a consistent wake time. But if you are sleep deprived and you still want to focus on being mentally sharp, some natural supplements to consider are zinc, ginkgo biloba, L-carnitine, alpha lipoic acid. By the way, that's also very helpful for your metabolism, body fat, balancing blood sugar, all of the vitamin Bs, B complex, omega-3, so important for brain function, and L-tyrosine. Now, I've talked about this supplement before. It's one that I started taking again so I could eliminate like 10 other supplements, and it has every one of those ingredients I just mentioned and about 15 others. It's also from Brain MD. I've been taking this supplement now for 10 years. And for 8 years, I've been begging them to like, hey, I love this stuff. I talk about it all the time. Could we get my people a discount? Because people think it's expensive when they see the price. It's really not. Especially when you realize like you will literally be able to eliminate a lot of your multivitamins. Look at all of these ingredients. Are you kidding me? In one powder. Let me be honest. I'm sure the company doesn't want me to tell you this. It's not something you can just mix with water and go, oh, yummy. Mm-mm. No. I mean, look at it. It's got too many vitamins and supplements and too many really important ingredients in it for it to taste like tang. Ain't going to happen. So here's what I do. I mix all of my powdered supplements into one drink. It's very citrusy and tart. And then I mix in a ice drink. You know, they're like 0 calories. It's like a flavored sparkling ice, but it's got like a lot of flavor to it. I'm not saying you're gonna love this, but I freaking look forward to it every single day. And whenever I talk to someone who's like, "Oh, I tried that powder. Oh, it was not good," I'm like, you just don't know how to mix it up right. Like you got to know you have to be a mixologist. And I don't know about you, but I just would rather make a yummy drink with all of my supplements and have to take more pills. I hate taking so many capsules. And I still have to take a bunch of them that don't come in a powder form. But again, I swear by this Bright Minds powder. I swear by it. I'm also someone who has pretty severe ADHD, and this just helps me to focus naturally. The ingredients are top quality. I swear by this stuff. That's why I've been taking it for every single day for 10 years. I freak out when they sell out. That's why I always, I stockpile it. I hoard it because I'm like that terrified that I'll wake up one day and not have my brain powder. Anyways, I'll put a link below and you can try it for yourself. All of the supplements I talked about, the different mattress cooling systems, I'll put links to all of that below in our show notes. And I'd love to hear what works for you. Share with me your feedback and don't forget to tell me what topics would you love for me to share next here on The Chalene Show. All right. Love you. Mean it. Talk to you soon.